In case you're new here, I go on natural history and art adventures in my pop-top Toyota Sienna minivan. Today we're continuing our journey to Joshua Tree National Park by visiting Split Rock. On this loop trail, we'll talk about some of the plants we see, and then we'll also visit the Cholla Garden and Ocotillo Patch as we head through the transition zone between the Mojave Desert and the Colorado Desert, where we'll be staying tonight. I'm really impressed by this rock area that almost looks like an amphitheater to me, and the cool rock with the window in it. I found my painting spot. Joshua Tree National Park provides habitat protection for 54 rare plant species. Most of these rare plants are threatened outside the park by mining, off-road vehicle use, industrial-scale solar development, and increasing urbanization. So it's really important that we have places like national parks that protect the ecological communities that these plants thrive in. We'll talk about some common plants as well. Desert pepperweed is a southwest member of the mustard family, which is often found in pinyon juniper woodlands. As we walk along this trail, we'll see a number of signs for different climbing areas, as it's pretty popular with climbers. Here's chia. It's a small annual sage, or salvia. It's an important source of food, even today, and many First Nations people utilized it. Once the seeds were shaken off the dried flower heads, they could be used for a variety of different purposes, including making drinks, flours, and porridges. They were also used to help to clean irritants out of the eyes, such as sand, as chia becomes gelatinous when moistened. Joshua Tree National Park generally doesn't have the common California poppy, but it does host several often confused, more rare, yellow-flowered poppy species in the same genus. This is apricot mallow. First Nations people used it as birth control and also to help with upset stomachs, colds, and STDs. It could be also applied to help with swelling and used as an eye wash. If you're enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as I hope we can grow this channel to help protect our public lands and open spaces for all. This is desert paintbrush. It's amazing to me the resilience of desert plants. It can grow even in the cracks of rocks, and so looking carefully at spaces can be pretty interesting. This is a species of Echinocerius. I'm not sure which one, as it was a little far away, but there are a couple in Joshua Tree. Heading to our camp spot tonight, we'll be passing out of the Mojave Desert and into the lower and warmer Colorado Desert. One of the cool things about Joshua Tree National Park is that it's a transition zone between the two deserts. The Colorado Desert is a subsection of the Sonoran Desert and does not have Joshua trees, but it does have some other cool plants, including ocotillo and cholla, which we'll talk about today as we drive past them on the way to the Cottonwood campsite. Since I was driving by, I thought it might be interesting to stop and take a peek at Arch Rock, as apparently it's supposed to be pretty photogenic. However, when I got there, it was pretty packed, and so I turned around without even looking at the rock. I think it might have been less crowded if I hadn't come at sunset. There are some signs here which are kind of interesting. This one talks about dikes, and the one that it's by looks kind of like what you might see on the back of a stegosaurus. These are teddy bear cholla. Although these cactuses appear fuzzy looking and they have a cute name, they have a tendency to seemingly jump and latch onto nearby animals, including humans. Most animals shy away from teddy bear cholla, but desert wood rats often build their nests near these species or collect their spiky joints in order to keep predators away. This helps to disperse the cholla, as one of the main animals that rummages around in wood rat nests are coyotes. And coyotes have the perfect length fur for these cholla joints to attach to with their spikes. And it turns out that coyotes are probably one of the main longer distance dispersers of the teddy bear cholla. Water, such as with flash flooding, can also help to distribute these cholla bits. One of the reasons that the teddy bear chollas depend on this dispersal for reproduction is because they don't reproduce sexually. This is because they are triploid, so even though they produce fruit, the seeds are sterile, as there are not an even number of chromosomes to divide, which would be needed for successful sexual reproduction in these plants. Cholla belong to a group of cactuses called Cylindropuntia, which have cylindrical parts rather than flat paddle-like parts, which we see in the opuntia or beaver tail cactuses. Cylindropuntia and opuntia can reproduce sexually, asexually, or both ways, depending on the particular species in the genus. These cool plants are ocotillos. The ocotillo patch is about 1.5 miles from the cholla cactus garden. Ocotillo can grow up to about 30 feet tall, and much of the year is gray and spiky looking. However, after it rains, it quickly flushes with little tiny leaves which spiral up the plant. These leaves can last a few months after the rains and then eventually fall off. And depending on the rain, the leaves will flush out of the plant multiple times a year. Ocotillo have bright, reddy orange flowers. These blossoms are rich in nectar and are favored by hummingbirds. Ocotillos have a shallow, widespread root system and soak up as much moisture as possible during rains. They also attract bees and butterflies. Like a lot of desert plants, their stems are coated with a waxy substance that helps to reduce water loss, and their spines not only help to deter herbivores, but also decrease airflow around the stem and reduce evaporation, which further conserves water. Traditionally, ocotillo were used for treating hemorrhoids as well as varicose veins. Ocotillo occur in the Mojave Desert, particularly in the southern and eastern regions, and extend into the Colorado Desert. They are considered an edge plant, often found in transition zones where the Mojave meets the Sonoran Desert. Once we head further south from here towards Cottonwood Campground, we'll be heading more into Colorado Desert. All done. Thank you for joining me today as we checked out some of the cool plants in Joshua Tree National Park. I hope you'll join me on our next video where we wrap up the Joshua Tree series by checking out the Cottonwood area of the park, including the palm oasis there. See you next time.